Are you a PlayStation player and getting into Forza? Well, Kitty, I've been a Forza player for about 15 years now, and here is a quick video about Forza Horizon 5, how I think you should play and how I enjoy the game. So for starters, enjoy the game. Horizon 5 isn't ultra-serious racing with absolute simulated physics. It's a semi-realistic arcade-style racing game, where you're free to explore and drive around Horizon, Mexico. It's meant to be fun, not stressful. Being said, absolutely be sure to be a clean driver. In Forza Horizon there is a ton of rammers and wall riders. These people stress way too much about Forza, and there just isn't a reason to default to it. It does not make you a better driver. It does not increase your skill of car control. It just annoys everyone around you and makes people not wanna race. Now some of the first questions I ask new players: what do they enjoy about cars? What kind of motorsport do you like to do? Are you into circuit racing? Are you into rally? Are you a drifter? Drag racer? There's a ton of types of racing you can do in Horizon 5, and there's no absolute style or tune that anyone does for the most enjoyment of the game. I personally am a drifter, but am currently doing a series on twitch.tv/fire_saints where I'm rebuilding my entire garage of 1,125 cars, for all types of racing and drifting. I believe your garage should feature all types of cars and builds. So today we are going to cover a few basics: how to start out, how to get cars, and how you should build your garage as a new player. Now firstly, I don't think I have recording at this current moment, but I am planning on something special to help you guys and show you how I would restart Forza. So for now, the very first of the game you should be focusing on is story events and seasonals. Story events look like these here, and these are very easy short challenges, I think on average about 5 minutes to do each race. These give you a little bit of money and XP. As well, if you get 3 stars on each event you can unlock cars. Meanwhile you're doing this, you're also getting XP for driving on new roads, doing challenges and stuff like that. Don't stress over money. Forza has always kinda just thrown money at you. It is not difficult to get money in this game. Your main sources will be wheel spins and events. For just joining events, even in last place you get a couple grand, and normally you get wheel spins for leveling up, so you'll make quick cash easy as long as you simply play the game. The seasonals can be located here. These offer rare cars and wheel spins. They're simple. Do the races in the class of vehicle and car class and you'll unlock points. 20 points gives you a car and 40 points gives you a backstage pass. The backstage passes give you a chance to unlock rare cars basically for free, and it's quite simple to follow. So now you build up some money. I would say on average having $50,000 to spend in upgrades will get you most of the time to a class or 2 above the stock. Ideally you wanna have around $100,000, which you can easily earn from wheel spins, or most events give you around 30 grand, so you do a couple of them and you can almost fully upgrade basically any car in the game. But you don't want to, so we're going to build a car just as an example. So in the auto show you can buy cars at factory price. So let's build a race car for A class. A class is around the majority. It's one of the most played classes. It's fast enough to not feel slow and it's not overly fast. But this is gonna be super basic tuning. We're gonna build this 2011 Mazda RX-8 R3. So when picking a car I always suggest starting with a class lower than the one you're trying to build to. The more room you have PI-wise, the more you can explore types of builds and make it your own. PI is the performance index you can see in the bottom right of each car here. So the current I'm currently in the Dodge Challenger is 832 PI, putting it into S1. The RX-8 is 624, putting it into B class. Each class except for D class is 100 points. So the absolute perfect B class car is B700. Once you go to 701 you're into A class. The absolute is 800 for A class, S1 is 900, S2 is 998, X class is 999, D class is 400, C class is 500, simple. Sorry, D class is 500, C class is 600. Anyways, you'll see it. So I'm buying this car for $27,000, also known as credits. I just say dollars. Anyways, feel free to pick a paint. Painting your car is free. So we want to get this car into the top of A class, so as you learn you'll have more options to you, but it is highly recommended. Every car you build for racing, all-wheel drive. It is the most dominant drivetrain due to its grip and ease to drive. But here's basic strategy to ensure you can control the car as a new driver. So we're going to come into upgrades and tuning, and jump straight to conversions. Now the main 4 you will have in here will be engine swap, drivetrain swap, aspirations, and body kits. Now this RX-8 does not have a body kit, But we'll start with making it all-wheel drive. It adds the most grip and is the fastest drivetrain to use. You can see in the bottom left where you're at PI-wise. Remember, the goal is to make the car as grippy and powerful as possible within a certain class. This will lead to some sacrifices. A heavier car is less responsive, more sluggish and is harder to move, leading to less top speed, acceleration and cornering. More power gives you more acceleration and top speed. Better tires gives you better acceleration and better cornering. You want to balance it out, and there is 1,000 ways of achieving the same performance. But don't stress over it. For beginners, I highly recommend using grippy cars. This will help you maintain control, but this sacrifices top speed. So let's look at tires. So in Forza, tires are a little weird. For BA and S1 rally, tires are really good. But to keep things simple, the better the tires you get, the less you can get top speed. But the more top speed you have, the less handling you have. Again, it's all about balance. So we'll start with sport tires, upgrading the tire width a little. Keep an eye on the performance class, as well as your horsepower and weight. I also highly recommend getting all the tunable parts, which I will do here. Follow along. I'm gonna continue building, but in case it wasn't clear, the tunable parts you need is going to be race stuff, and the parts you wanna get is transmission, differential, brakes, suspension and anti-roll bars. Don't confuse this with a roll cage. Anti-roll bars are the bars in the suspension tying the two sides together. You want to upgrade those. A few things to note. Sport transmission will typically be better than race because it costs less PI and you can still adjust the final drive. Sport brakes are good but not as good as race brakes. And the reason I went for 8-speed transmission is because I like it. You can choose between a 6 to 10 speed in most cars. So I would say 7 to 8 speed is the most ideal approach if you like really short gears like I do. But if you like long gears, a 6 speed is absolutely fine. 10 gears is niche, but you can save a point on your PI for not too much weight with the 10 speed. Anyways, so we've already chose a really good set of tires. Now you've seen me upgrade the weight reduction. It's a very important upgrade. A lighter car is more responsive, takes less power to accelerate and typically helps with your top speed. But you can build heavier cars with more power if you choose to. I would recommend the weight reduction as a beginner. So now we're at the top of A class. You've seen me go over it by 1 PI. Keep in mind the class you're trying to build for. Again, this will be in the bottom left. The top one will not change as you build. That's the current PI before you buy the upgrades. So I spent $27,000 on buying the car and am buying $47,050 worth of upgrades, coming out to $74,050 to build this A-class car. So a few simple adjustments in the tuning you can do without really knowing what you're doing here. Firstly, go to custom tuning. Use 28 front and rear tire PSI. This is typically around where the optimal temps for your tires will be, but it's different on every car. 28 PSI is a safe value for 99% of cars. Next, we're in gearing. Now gearing is very simple. I'm going to provide you the simplest method of them all to achieve a decent gearing here. Firstly, we want to find our top gear, or the last gear. In our case here it is the 8th gear. We want to set this to 1.00. This is a 1-to-1 gear. For every rotation of the engine, the transmission rotates 1 time. Though you don't have to worry about that, it's the simplest way of setting all of your gears. Now we're looking at the graph in the bottom right. We want to set the last gear onto the last vertical line like so. Now we're going to look at the rest of the gears. We want to make this a smooth curve. I've heard this explained like making a staircase. I just think of it as a simple curve, but you want to ensure that the gear before it is longer than the next. So second gear is longer than third gear and so on. The reason we do this is because as you accelerate, it's harder to reach your top speed in that gear, so it needs less RPM, and a smooth curve will be the optimal way to achieve this. There is a lot more to this. So if you wish to learn tuning, I have a tuning guide up already. It will be linked in the description along with all of our other links. It should look something like that. Very simple. As a quick tip, try to not have your gears too long. Keep them as short as possible while maintaining this kind graph. As you upshift, it will drop less RPM. Now we're going to take our final drive here, move it to the end of the graph, find the absolute top speed, and then we'll pick a reasonable top speed. So as you see here, the absolute top speed is 193.8 miles per hour. So pull this back a little until you're at 185 miles per hour, or 190 miles per hour. that few extra miles per hour could make a difference, but the acceleration will also help. Again, it's all about balancing your car. Next, come to alignment. You don't have to make too many changes here. I always recommend setting your front caster angle to 7.0. Next is anti-roll bars. If you're unsure what you're doing, you can leave it alone. Again, I've fully covered each of these with my tuning guide. Feel free to watch that. Next is springs. A simple thing you can do is to soften the suspension just a little bit. The race suspension uses a pretty stiff setting, so just soften it a little front and back. I'd say roughly 10%. If you're unsure what you're doing, just try to keep the same balance. The balance is the stiffness between the front and back. So we're at 640.2 and 655.1, so we're going to go around where we believe 10% softer is, and we're going to set the front since it's softer than the rear. Match the rear and then add on that 15 pounds. Next is your right height. A safe method is lower it all the way, and then click right 2 times front and rear. This gives you a low ride with some wiggle room for suspension flex. Though at this spring rate that won't happen much. Anyways, now with the damping, do the same thing you did with the springs. We're at 12.0, 11.5, 7.57.0, so we're going to take off 10% of it, but maintain the same balance. Now if you have aero on your car, this requires having the race front bumper and the race rear wing. My method here is to set them even and high, so start by setting both of them to cornering like so. Now set the rear wing to speed. In this case they're not even, so let me quickly jump to a car to show you what I do for this. But in this case I would leave them like this because they're as even as possible. Now let's do this again. All the way up gives us 645 and 931. Now we'll lower the rear all the way. In this case it's less than the front, 645 pounds, so we're gonna match them as closely as we can. This makes it so you have as much aero as possible while not introducing over or understeer. It's maintaining the balance of the car. Next is your brakes. These are reversed, so front means rear and rear means front. I'll overlay some video here showcasing it, but now that you're back, we're going to make it a little rear bias so you can trail brake, and add just a little more pressure. Don't add too much or you'll be locking up too much. Start with 105% pressure. I wouldn't exceed 150% pressure, and I wouldn't go over 55% to 45% brake balance. Now in differential there's a lot here, but a very simple thing you can do is set your front acceleration to 50%, front deceleration to 5%, rear acceleration to 75%, rear deceleration to 25%, and use a 65% center balance. This will give you a little better feeling. But again, I would watch my tuning series and learn how to properly tune, and some things will be different in that tuning series, so just combine knowledge from this one and that to find your own tuning style. There is no right or wrong tuning style. There is wrong things you can do to achieve your tuning style, but if you enjoy the feeling and it feels correct to you, then use it. I enjoy tuning in this game. I've spent countless hours tuning in Forza titles, and the years I've been tuning I can tune basically any car for anything, and I simply enjoy making all cars feel right to me. And now you've base tuned a car, so simply copy the method between cars. Do not copy values, copy the method. Everything I've provided values with typically can be copied between cars, but it's more of the method of tuning. This is a very relaxed way of tuning a car that just gives it a little extra help. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope you find something that helps you. Welcome PlayStation players to Forza Horizon 5. Maybe you've played before on Xbox or PC and learned something new. Maybe you're a total beginner. I'm planning on a series specifically targeting new players, showing you guys how I build up. But anyways, see you all very soon.